Do you ever find yourself maybe staring blankly at the clock on Monday morning, wondering where the weekend went and why you don't feel any more refreshed than you did on Friday?
Oh, absolutely. That's a feeling I think many of us can relate to, right? We carve out those precious weekend hours, but that sense of real restoration, it can still feel just sort of out of reach.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. We've been exploring the weekend habits of people often described as, top performers across different fields.
Yeah. And our exploration is really sparked by Shinji Koshikawa's work. He's a former Microsoft exec, now CEO of a company trying out a 3-day work week.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and his book, What Top Performers Around the World Do on Their Days Off, it offers some really compelling insights. Plus, the Fermi Manga University YouTube channel did a great overview of his ideas.
Okay. So our mission for you today, it's pretty simple, really. We want to pull out some actionable strategies from all this. Things you can actually use to make your weekends feel truly restorative, more fulfilling, and ultimately that boosts your overall well-being and, yeah, maybe even how you perform during the week.
And just to, underline why this matters,
Mm-hmm.
think about this. There was a survey back in 2014, Japanese Recovery Association.
Mm-hmm.
Huge sample size, 100,000 people.
Wow.
And it found that a staggering 78.5% reported feeling tired.
78.5%, despite probably having more time off than, say, previous generations.
Exactly. It just highlights that simply having free time isn't really the answer. It's all about how you use it.
Right, so that really hits home. Just clocking out isn't enough, is it? We need to be more intentional.
Definitely.
And the first thing that really stood out from Koshikawa's work, as Fermi Manga University highlighted, is this idea of actively getting out of the house.
Yeah. And what's fascinating here is how different that is from how many people actually spend their free time.
Yeah.
There was this 2014 white paper on health, labor, and welfare in Japan.
Like a government report.
Basically, yeah. Analyzing well-being. And it showed the top leisure activities were like passively scrolling on smartphones, watching videos or TV.
Or just doing nothing.
Or just doing nothing.
Right. Which, let's be honest, probably sounds familiar to a lot of us. I mean, the couch and the endless scroll, they have a strong pull.
They really do. But the key insight here is, look, physical rest is important, sure. But just staying indoors all weekend might not fully, revitalize your mind.
Right. It's not the same kind of refreshment.
Precisely. Koshikawa emphasizes that these top performers, they actively seek experiences outside their normal environment. Think about it, like a day at Disneyland, playing sports, hobbies.
Going on a food tour, maybe.
Yeah.
Skiing, camping.
Yeah. Or, card games with friends, sharing a nice meal with people you care about, going to a soccer game, looking at art. It's about engagement.
And there's that fantastic personal story in there about the author himself, right? He didn't really have a big hobby until he rode on the back of a Harley Davidson. He talks about the vibrations, that rumble, the speed.
Yeah, he said it just cleared out all the mental clutter, left him feeling totally exhilarated.
That really shows the power, doesn't it? Finding something that genuinely engages you.
It really does. It wasn't just about filling time. It was finding something exciting. And, kind of surprisingly, it made him look forward to his weekdays more, knowing that fun stuff was waiting on the weekend.
Okay, so the big takeaway here, get outside. Prioritize activities outside the house. It's crucial for refreshing your mind and body, way more than just passive indoor rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it kind of naturally leads us to think about how these top performers actually value their weekends.
Right. You mentioned that apparently for many successful people around the world, the weekend isn't just recovery time tacked onto the week.
No, it's like the main event. They see their work as the thing that enables that enjoyable time off. Some even called work the ultimate pastime.
Wow, the ultimate pastime. That's a perspective shift.
It really is. It's not about living for work, but maybe working to support a rich, fulfilling life outside of the job, with meaningful experiences.
That's interesting because, well, in some cultures, Japan was mentioned, but maybe elsewhere too, there's still such a strong emphasis on prioritizing work, right?
Definitely.
Sometimes over personal time. Weekend work isn't exactly rare.
That's a really important point. Those cultural norms about work-life balance, they vary hugely. And look, we're not saying everyone should ditch their values, but it does raise a question for you, the listener. What could be the benefits if you consciously placed a bit more value on your time off? Could it actually lead to a more balanced, maybe even more productive life overall?
Definitely something to think about. Okay, so another really intriguing habit we found is this idea of taking on small challenges during the weekend.
Yeah, and what's cool here is the intentionality behind it. The goal isn't to, like, add stress. It's more about building self-confidence.
That I can do this feeling.
Exactly, which then kind of spills over positively into how you approach work.
Like a mini confidence booster. And the examples seem pretty doable, right? Like trying bouldering maybe, or getting comfortable on a bigger motorcycle if that's your thing.
Or even just, going on a solo day trip, checking out that new store you keep walking past, or maybe treating yourself to a new haircut or something at a salon. Small things.
Okay.
And the author talks about his own experience with this. He said he gained a lot of confidence by doing things he thought he couldn't, like auto bike racing and even triathlons.
Right, that sense of accomplishment from those small wins, it really built up his self-belief.
Totally.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Even if you're a bit tired physically after pushing yourself on a weekend challenge, there's that good feeling that I did it vibe, like
Yeah.
after a workout.
Exactly like that. And if you think about how routine work can sometimes get,
No new challenges.
right, your
Okay.
job might lack those novel situations. So deliberately adding these small challenges in your personal time, it gives you that useful external stimulation and helps build up resilience.
Got it. So the core idea, weave small, achievable challenges into your weekends. Not chores, but things just slightly outside your comfort zone to boost confidence and motivation.
And this actually leads quite nicely into the next point, which is the sort of rhythm many successful people seem to follow. The active Saturday, relaxing Sunday.
Yes, I noticed that pattern too. So Saturday is for the active stuff we talked about, hobbies, new experiences, maybe even a learning workshop or something.
Active engagement. Then Sunday shifts focus. It's more about rest and rejuvenation. Gentle exercise, reading for fun, maybe meditation, looking at art, watching movies, quality time with family.
Okay, and you mentioned some big names follow this.
Yeah, there were examples like Jeff Bezos apparently using Saturdays for hobbies and Sundays for reading history or self-improvement books. And Elon Musk supposedly flying planes on Saturday.
Interesting. Okay.
And then Sundays more for meditation and reading at home, restful stuff.
It sounds like a really deliberate balancing act, but why the focus on a relaxing Sunday? Why not just keep the energy high all weekend?
Well, the main reason seems to be avoiding carrying fatigue into the work week. If you push yourself hard, physically or mentally, all weekend.
You start Monday already drained.
Exactly. It can really hurt your productivity and just how you feel overall.
And didn't the author mention his own experience with that, like doing demanding things like triathlons or long bike rides on the weekend?
He did, yeah. He said he consistently felt that lingering exhaustion on Monday, which made it much harder to get the week off to a strong start.
That makes sense.
So by having a more intentionally relaxing Sunday, you're basically giving your body and mind the time they need to fully recover. Sets you up for a more focused, energetic week.
So for you listening, the key takeaway is maybe think about structuring your weekend. Active Saturday for mental stimulation, relaxing Sunday for physical recovery.
Okay, so we're getting out, valuing our time off, embracing challenges, finding a rhythm. What's next on the list of habits for these top performers?
Right. The next crucial thing seems to be proactive planning. Actually planning your leisure time.
Yeah, they tend to approach their weekend plans with like the same intentionality they use for their work schedules.
So we're talking about literally scheduling our fun.
Pretty much. The suggestion is to start planning your weekend, maybe like Friday afternoon, around 3 p.m. if you have a typical Saturday, Sunday off.
Wow, that feels super organized. Why plan so far ahead, though?
Well, there are a few good reasons. First, it stops those aimless Saturday mornings where you just drift around, don't really do anything, and feel kind of blah.
I'm there.
Right.
Yeah.
Second, it really lowers the chance of disappointment. You trying to book that cool restaurant or activity last minute, and it's totally full.
Ugh. Yeah, I hate that.
And third, well, if your plans involve meeting other people, you usually need to give them some notice anyway.
That all makes perfect sense. It really reinforces that idea, doesn't it? If you truly value your weekends for restoration and enjoyment, you'll be proactive to make the most of them.
Absolutely. And the source even mentions a strategy some people use, kind of front-loading their weekend fun into Friday evening.
Like after work.
Yeah, instead of just collapsing, maybe they hit the gym or meet friends. Get a head start on the downtime.
Okay, so key message. Take your leisure seriously. Plan your weekends ahead of time to really maximize enjoyment and avoid that feeling of wasted time or missed chances.
Definitely. Now, let's dig into this interesting idea of cultivating a third place.
A third place. Okay, yeah, unpack that for us. What exactly is a third place?
So a third place is essentially a comfortable, welcoming spot that's not your home and not your work. Think of it like your personal sanctuary for unwinding.
Examples.
Could be your favorite coffee shop, maybe a local bar, a library, even a specific bookstore you love, or maybe a hobby shop, like for card games or something.
Ah, okay, I think I get it. Didn't Starbucks kind of try to position itself as that third place for people?
That's exactly the concept. And the benefits of having a place like that are pretty significant. It gives you a good environment for focused stuff, like research or just thinking or reading.
Away from distractions at home or pressures at work.
Precisely. I always find I can concentrate better on a book in a cafe sometimes than on my own couch.
Me too. There's something about the background hum.
Right. And interestingly, there was a study, University of Sussex, I think. It found that just 6 minutes of reading can cut stress by like 68%.
6 minutes. Wow, 68%. That's huge.
It is. So having a pleasant place that encourages reading can be really good for your well-being.
Definitely.
And beyond that, third places often kind of foster community, right? They can be places for chance encounters, connecting with people who share your interests.
Like bumping into someone also into, say, Monster Hunter at a game shop.
Exactly. Or chatting about an author at your favorite bookstore. Those connections matter.
Yeah, good relationships are so important for mental and physical health.
They really are. So the takeaway here is try to identify and, actually go to a third place, a sanctuary outside your usual zones for relaxation, focus, and maybe some social connection too.
This is all really practical stuff. What's another key practice for these top performers on their days off?
Okay, another vital one is building in intentional digital detox periods.
Ah, the smartphone break. Often talked about, maybe less often done.
Totally. I mean, the constant stream of information from our devices, it really fragments our focus and adds to stress, doesn't it?
For sure. Even on weekends, you're getting news alerts, social media pings.
Endless entertainment options pulling at you.
Yeah.
It's almost automatic to just reach for the phone whenever there's a quiet moment.
It really is.
And yes, smartphones are useful tools, obviously.
Yeah.
But work stuff can easily creep in, blurring that line between on time and off time. Plus, let's be real, they're designed to be pretty addictive.
So how do these top performers manage it? How do they disconnect?
Well, the recommendation is to actively pick hobbies or activities that naturally make you put the phone down.
Like what?
Things like going to a sauna, weight training, playing sports, activities where using a phone is just impractical or impossible.
Sauna time definitely feels like a phone-free zone. Can't really take it in there.
Exactly. And it's super relaxing. Plus, especially if you go for like a private sauna, it can be a great social thing too, without the digital noise.
Okay. So the message is consciously build in activities where you have to disconnect from your phone. Give your brain a break from that constant buzz to improve focus and lower stress.
Right. It's about being intentional.
Now, what about listeners who might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but I don't really have any strong hobbies or passions right now. What then?
Yeah, that's a really common feeling. And the source material tackles it head on. Basically, life gets busy, right? Demanding.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just lose touch with what we actually enjoy. Our interests get buried under responsibilities.
So how do we, dig them up again?
The suggestion is actually a pretty simple exercise. Find a relaxed place, maybe your new third place cafe. Grab some paper and just jot down anything you've ever wanted to do, no matter how small or silly it seems.
And nothing at all. No filter.
No filter whatsoever. Even tiny desires are valid starting points. Then, once you have a list, the really crucial next step is to pick a few, set actual deadlines for them.
And schedule them.
And schedule them into your weekends, like real appointments with yourself.
Okay.
The author shares this story about wanting to ride a trike, a three-wheeled motorcycle. He kept putting it off and putting it off. It wasn't until he actually set a date, made a firm plan, that he did it. And afterwards, he was like, why didn't I do this sooner? It brought him unexpected joy.
That really shows how procrastination can steal those moments, doesn't it?
It really does. And the deeper point is that actively pursuing these desires, even small ones, adds meaning and fulfillment to life. So for you listening, take a moment. Think about what those maybe forgotten desires might be.
The source mentioned things like what? Going to Halloween events at Universal Studios Japan?
Yeah, or snowboarding in winter, or wanting to ride a specific bike like a Honda Rebel. Could be anything.
It's a good reminder that those little sparks of interest are worth fanning into flames.
Definitely. So the final key takeaway here is, if you feel like you're lacking hobbies, actively dig into those forgotten desires. Write them down. Make a concrete plan to actually do them.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive then. We've looked at the importance of getting active outside, really valuing your time off, embracing small challenges for confidence.
Right. Structuring your weekend with that active Saturday relaxing, Sunday rhythm, planning leisure ahead of time, finding and using a third place.
And taking intentional digital breaks, and finally, rediscovering and actually pursuing those hidden desires or forgotten hobbies.
And the goal behind all of this, it's not just about having a nicer weekend, although that's great too. It's about making sure your downtime truly recharges you.
Which leads to better performance, better well-being across your whole life.
Exactly. So this brings us to maybe a final thought-provoking question for you, the listener. Thinking about everything we've discussed, what's maybe one small change, one little adjustment you could make to your next weekend to make it feel a bit more like a top performer weekend for yourself?
Yeah, what might you discover about your own ability to refresh, to find joy, when you intentionally prioritize that time off?
We really hope you'll explore these ideas. Experiment a bit, see what resonates.
Because these seemingly small shifts, they really can make a big positive difference in how you experience your downtime and, well, ultimately, your life.